sisters, my friends, my fans, and all my listeners. Welcome to another edition of FMW. Live in the studio. It's Monday night. You know how we do. FMW. Woo! It's Monday night. It's Monday night. Peace and blessings, my brothers and sisters, my friends, and all my fans, and all my listeners. It's Monday night. It's Monday night. Come on in. Let's hang out.
If you wanna chop it up,
We can chop it up.
If you spill it on the floor,
Better mop it up.
You should never ever drink from a stranger's cup, cause these dudes like the ball
And go all the way up.
I'ma have me a swig
And a blunt tonight.
cause you lie with the fuck.
Cause it's Monday night.
People need to see what it's all about. So I'ma say some names,
I'ma call them out.
weak-minded tasteless,
Oh.
fell out of graces,
Woo.
so confrontations,
Yeah.
but you embrace this, you celebrate this, you got your teeth knocked out,
You wearing braces.
know where your place is. Political views, celebrity scandals,
Yeah.
bad examples who need to be canceled.
Okay.
I'm calling out bums, better get it right. Yo, I live for this shit every Monday night.
Okay.
It's Monday night. It's Monday night. We hanging out. It's
FMW, we live in the studio. You already know.
It's Monday night.
It's Monday night.
Hanging out. It's
Boom. Woo.
Monday night.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
Peace and blessings to all my brothers and sisters, my friends, my fans, and all my listeners. You already know. Yo, it's Monday night.
It's Monday night.
Come on, let's hang out for a while. Boom.
In the studio,
Okay.
the conversation, music station.
Oh, they hate me. Oh, they hate my damn guts. They just want me to shut up. Woo. But we live, we privileged, all praises due to the privilege of the Most High, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. From thee we come, to thee we shall return. From thee we come, to thee we shall return. How y'all doing out there? We are privileged again, another Monday evening. I'm still trying to adjust my lighting and stuff. I know I'm late. I don't really like to follow no time schedule. I like to keep it organic. If I feel like coming on, I feel like coming on. Whatever time I feel like coming on, I'm coming on. I don't want to put myself in a program type of setting. But just know that by the grace of the Most High, I'll be there on Monday nights. For sure. But peace. How y'all doing? Peace and blessings. Oh yeah. Salute to all my subscribers. All my riders. Definitely, I got nothing but love for y'all. Now, you know I'm not the average guy. I got to go through all the controversy, the red tape, the monitoring, the censorship, the red flagging. It's like, come on now. I mean, I got to expect that. These topics of discussion are very controversial. And sometimes things don't want to be said. But over here on Monday nights, the Bellevue patient, the wild and crazy guy, I can only stand on the truth. I can't ride with the falsehoods. I can't lie to the people. I can't play on your intelligence. I refuse to do that. So here I is, Monday nights, live on YouTube. And like I always say, there's a lot going on in the world. Too much. Too much negativity. Too much energy draining. Too much false advertisement. Too many lies, garbage, and trash being told. Now I know ain't too much we could physically do about the corruption. And I like to get to the root of things, but sometimes when you dig too deep, you find out things you wish you didn't know. Knowledge is power. It's the most powerful thing in the world, especially when it's knowledge of the truth. All praise is due to the Most High, because the Most High is the truth. The unseen is the truth. The spiritual realm is the truth. The greatness in you is true. But how did we get to this level of mass confusion? How did we get to the level of separation? How did we get on this racist situation? How did black and white and Chinese and European and German and Russian and French, how did we all acquire this great divide? That's the topic of my show this evening. The Great Divide. How did it all begin? How did we get separated? They say it was the Babylon, the building of the Tower of Babylon, and God changed everybody's tongue. They were trying to build a monument to reach the heavens and all that. We heard all of that. Okay. But I was looking for a more simplified explanation that would equate to modern times, the times that we living in today. And I happened to be glancing through doing some research, and I stumbled upon a name, Tim Wise. Tim Wise. Do your research. But Tim was given a presentation, and he said some very, very interesting things. One of the things that stood out in my mind the most was when he said the white race was created. He said in the mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. Everybody was one. It was no division. They couldn't even conceive that idea. Everybody was equal. The only difference was rich or poor. When I heard that information, I had to listen more. Tim went on to say that the rich Europeans got hit that they were basically outnumbered by the poor blacks and the poor Europeans. They didn't call themselves white. The Europeans never called themselves white people. This came later on. There were poor Europeans and there were poor blacks. And they were together in their poorness. But the rich Europeans, they were paying attention. And they realized that they were outnumbered by black, poor Africans and poor Europeans. So they made a deal. They made a deal with the Europeans, and they let them in the club. They gave them some land. They gave them some rights. They gave them some freedoms. And then they let them join the slave patrol. And so they became helpers for keeping those Negroes in check. So what did they do? They gave them a horse, they gave them a badge, and they gave them a gun. But they never gave them full coverage. They never made them equal partners. They just utilized them to break free from their alliances with the blacks, the poor black Africans. They had to break that unity up. Too many of you poor folk on both sides. Let's make a deal with the poor Europeans. They're more like us. They can more fit in, if you know what I mean. They were so worried about being overthrown. So Tim White said, whiteness was created. It's not a reality. It's not in our DNA. There's no chromosomes that identify with ethnicity. Ethnicity. Okay? Don't think I got it twisted. It's ethnicity. There's no chromosome that identifies with white, black, European, Asian, African. And the Europeans never called themselves white. Damn, so that means we all at one time stood on the human race. At one time, we stood on the principles of the human race. Not many races, but one race. One. That means we all are one. They've been telling us that we not. They've been telling us that there's a difference. They've been telling us that one is inferior and one is superior. They've been playing a mind game on us. They've been keeping us divided. With words, with titles, and with status. The greatest trick that has been played on the whole humanity is that we are not the same. Damn. We've been made to believe that there is a separation. Wow. That there is a difference between people due to culture, ethnicity, race, pigmentation, language, or lineage. They put up barriers. They put up borders on our brotherhood. There's limitations now. There's boundaries. They don't want us to come together and realize that we all are the same. We all are the same. Just different shades. different cultures. But they created these limitations to prevent us from establishing an international coalition of free thinkers. They don't want that. That is a threat to the establishment. That's a threat to be a free thinker, to have different opinions and different perspectives and new ideas that benefit everyone, not only one. People, we've allowed words, titles, and status to be given to people who are not qualified to those entitlements. They're not qualified. They're not qualified to hold that position. These people are not worthy. These people are not honorable. These people are corrupt and deceitful. They don't want for their brother what they want for themselves. No, they don't. These are people who do not have the best interest for this country. They do not have the best interest for the American people. They do not have the best interest for the American nation. Think about it. And right about now, it's all about America. It's all about America right now. It's all about the American people. It's all about the American government. It's all about the American nation. That's what it's all about right now. It's about the American nation standing together as the American humanity. This is where we need to be. This just doesn't affect me. This just doesn't affect you. It affects us all. I know you may think it don't affect you, but when the shit hits the fan, you'll find out how much you are affected by this. People don't want for their brothers and sisters what they want for themselves. So we gotta stop letting words, we gotta stop letting titles, and we gotta stop putting emphasis on people's status, reputation, fame and popularity, money and wealth. We gotta stop letting words cast spells on our common sense. I'm talking about words like professional, doctor, scientist, genius. Words like intelligent, governor, president, educated, wise man, master. I'm talking about words like supervisor, manager, guru. Because you know what happens after that? Then we end up putting a face behind these titles. And then you end up putting your trust behind that face. And every single time, you end up with the short end of the stick. Damn! Every time, not some of the time, not a few times, not even most of the time, but every time, you getting the short end of the stick. Damn. Every time. Not even some of the time, but every damn time. What we need to start doing is putting some faces behind words like idiot, moron, imbecile, dunce, nincompoop, knucklehead, goofy. We need to put faces behind people with these type of titles. Titles like lame, fool, and one of my favorites, jackass. Let's put some faces behind some of those titles, because there's a whole host of people who meet those qualifications. This is not a black and white thing. This is not a black and white thing. This is not about black and white. This ain't about Muslim or Christian. This ain't about Catholic. This is not about ethnicity. No. This ain't about culture. It ain't about any of those things. This ain't about race. This is a human thing. Yeah. This is a human thing. This is concerning the entire humanity. This, what we dealing with, is concerning the entire human race. Me and you. All of us collectively. This is gonna have an impact on everybody. Oh, you can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. This doesn't make any sense for humanity to be on the edge of its own extinction because of words, titles, and status. We don't even know how close we are. You think there's a whole road, there's miles to go, but right now we are on the edge of extinction. Please believe, don't let the sunshine fool you. The universe is watching, calculating, taking notes, and the clock is ticking. I mean, even in the animal world, there's civil, there's moralism, there's structure, there's natural balance, there's family, there's community, there's unity, even in the animal world. Take, for example, the feline family, the cat family. You got lions, you got tigers, you got panthers, you got cheetahs, you got the bobcat, you got the lynx cat. That's the feline family. That's the cat race. They all different. Live all throughout the world in different places and different locations. They have different habits, different cultures. but they all in the feline family. They all are in the cat race. Let's take the dog race, the canine family. You got your German Shepherd, you got your Doberman Pinscher, you got your Great Dane, you got your Pit Bull, you got your Rottweiler, you got your Poodle. They all different. Comes in many shapes and sizes throughout the world in different locations, but they all in the same family. They all in the canine family. They all are in the dog family. Oh, 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 oh. You know what I mean. You got the aquatic family. You got sharks. You got the great white, you got the tiger shark, you got the hammerhead. They all different. They all have different habits, but they all are in the same aquatic family. They are all in the same aquatic race. Underwater, whales. You got blue whales. You got gray whales, sperm whales, but they all whales. They all different, but they all are in the aquatic family. They all are in the whale family. Then you got the human race. You got black. You got white. You got Chinese, you got Indian, you got Russian, you got German, you got French, you got Jamaican, you got Haitian, you got Iranian, you got Arab, you got Puerto Rican, you got Mexican. We all different. We all come in many shapes, sizes, and forms. We all got different habits, different cultures. We all even speak different languages. But we are all in the human family. We are all one human race. And that should be the common denominator that unites Democrat and Republican, white and black. That should be the common denominator. The fact that we are all one human race. And what affects me will affect you. What affects you will affect me. This is the cycle. This is the order of creation. There is no separation amongst the human race. And until we learn this valuable lesson, until we learn the valuable lesson that black and white go together, black and white go together. Until we learn that, we won't understand right and wrong. We'll never get to understand good and bad if we don't understand the unity between black and white. We should be standing on human values, human morals, human intelligence, and human principles. We should not just be standing on the salvation for a specific group of people. We should be standing on the salvation for the entire human race of people. There's no me without you. There's no you without me. But we We too close to the edge right now. We think we got it under control. We think we got it figured out. But really what we do and what we are doing is we playing it very close. We are at the edge of extinction because of our ignorance, because of the lies that have been told, because of people's desire to rule and control, people's selfishness and greed, the larceny in their hearts. It's real. People are wicked, and they'll do anything to maintain their status, their power, and their control. It's too much dark things going on in the world. Too much perverted, sick, twisted indulgences going on in the world. People are sick. People involved in all kind of underhanded dealings. You'd be surprised. I'm talking about these egotistical, cold-blooded criminals who wear a shirt and tie. Corporate. I'm talking about men who serve this country at the same time. Corporate sabotage and corrupted politicians. We can't continue to allow any of us, Americans, black or white, Democratic or Republican, the haves or the have-nots. We cannot continue to allow ourselves to be target practice for those who have displayed the worst intentions for this nation. Take the bullseye off your back. Because what affects me affects you. And what affects you affects me. Remember this. One hand washes the other, but both hands wash the face. FMW. We live in the studio. Yeehaw! This for all my riders. This for all my subscribers. This for all of my riders. Oh, you're standing beside us. Over 18, I don't rock with no mind. They be wearing diapers. I'm so I think you with the pliers. This for the bears, the lions, the tigers, and all my subscribers. I'm looking for riders. I'm looking for riders. I'm looking for riders. To all my subscribers, I'm looking for riders. I'm looking for riders. Where the fuck is my truckers and bikers? I got love for my brothers and bikers. We ain't letting inside or outsiders. Gotta watch for the snakes and the spiders. All the corporate leaders, CEOs, the managers and supervisors. Shout out to all you old timers. This is for all my subscribers. I'm looking for riders. Oh, to all my subscribers. I'm looking for riders. I'm looking for riders. It's the funk, baby. You already know. The Bellevue tape is back. It's Monday night. We live.
Live in the studio,
Let's go, y'all.
the conversation, music station.
Okay.
Uncut, uncensored, hardcore. This for my vibes. This for my subscribers.
Yeah. FMW, we are live in the studio. We are privileged. It is October 7th, 2024. All praises due to the Most High. The clock is ticking. Wow, 2024 is nearly over with. We're going into a new year. It's already October. Wow. But what you do in the dark is going to always come to light. The separation between black and white, it all began as a divide and conquer tactic. That's all it was. It was a divide and conquer tactic. It wasn't real. There was no such thing as white. There was no such thing as color. We was all one people, one brotherhood, one humanity. The separation was created as a divide and conquer tactic. At one time, it was just one humanity, one race. It was no acknowledgement, no thought of black and white. There was no division between black and white. There was no acknowledgement. There was no difference that people could ever conceive between black and white. It was all about humanity. Man. Now we so divided. Democrat, Republican, American, foreigner, Israel, Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, Chinese, Japan, Muslim, Christian. Damn. Wow. I hope I said something to inspire you tonight. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm not going to do a lot of hanging out because this is serious. Because when you got to be in punishment, an outcome, when your name is in the hat, along with all the chaos and the fitna and the madness and the corruption and the sick, wicked evilness, when you are in that hat and your name is on that list and you gotta feel the repercussions because you're living that life. You're there. You're a part of it. You're included in it. You have to feel it too. That's what's a terrible thing. Especially when you don't have these type of racist and discriminative philosophies in your heart, when you want for your brother what you want for yourself, when you don't see no separation, when you know we all equal. But you leave it up to your professionals. When you leave it up to your politicians, your intellectuals, when you leave it up to your congressmen and your governors and your presidents and your scholars, this is what you get. I want to leave tonight with this insert of Tim Weiss. It was very inspirational to me. It gave me a better understanding of how human beings got to be separated the way we are today. I give salutes to Tim Weiss for his narrative and his breakdown of how this thing went down. So without further ado, I'm just going to play the audio for y'all. We're going to rock out with that. Check it out. This is Tim Weiss on the white race.
Let me say that again. The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody. And everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff. Right?
Wow.
Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people. Right? So ultimately, the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans. Right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. No more of that because you're too good for that. And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line. Give them a horse and a gun and a badge and make them feel big and powerful, right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well, right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work. Right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. Fast forward to the Civil War era. And you have, I'm from the South, right? My people, the elite in my part of the country, right, actually announced that the reason they wanted to break away from the Union and possibly go to war with their brothers and sisters to the North was in order to maintain slavery and white supremacy. They said that at the time. We lie about it now. And we say it had nothing to do with that. But of course, at the time, they didn't have any shame about it, so they just said it openly. Right? The vice president of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens, said that the cornerstone of the new government was the great truth that the Negro was not the equal of the white man. So that's the reason the Confederacy was formed and existed. But here's the trick. If I'm rich and I want to go to war to protect my ownership in other human beings, my property, but you're poor and you don't own any enslaved people, why the hell would you go fight to protect my stuff? Because I'm a rich person. I'm not going to fight. Rich people don't go to war. Right? Rich people get poor people to go to war for them, whether it's in 1860 or whether it's during the 1960s or whether it's today, right? Rich folks get doctors to write notes for them that say that they have heel spurs, and that's why they can't go to Vietnam. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you can Google that shit because he's sitting in the White House right now.
Damn.
Right? Well, I can't go fight. I have heel spurs. Send some poor kids to do that for me, please. Right? So that's been a long-standing tradition. So the rich have to figure out a way to convince the poor to go fight for them. But that's a hard thing. That's like a hard sell, right? Like, how the hell, why would you do that? Why would you go fight to protect my property rights when you don't own anything? The only way you would do it is if that rich person comes to you and says, hey, listen, you gotta go fight, because we gotta maintain our way of life, because if these people get free, they're gonna take your jobs. No, fool, they already got your job. That's how it works, right? Because if I'm white and I gotta charge you $1 a day to work on the farm, but you can get a black person to do it for nothing because you own them, guess who got the job? Free got the job, right? So in a sense, poor white folks would have been better off joining with black folks to overthrow the slave system. That would have raised the wage floor of all working people. But they got tricked by rich white men telling them that their enemies were black and brown. Fast forward to the 1930s. And you have white labor leaders. They're not even the elite, right? The labor leaders are not the elite, but they're the elite within the labor movement. And even they had fallen for it at this point. So they didn't want to integrate their unions. And they would say things like, well, we can't have black people and Mexicans and Chinese folks in our unions, because if we do that, it's going to reduce the professionalism of our craft. We have to maintain the integrity of our profession. No, fool, you need more people in the damn union is what you need. And if you don't let those folks in, guess what happens when you go out on strike? Who is the boss going to use to replace you? They're gonna replace you with the very same black and brown folks that you didn't want to work next to, right? And so at the end of the, and then you're gonna blame them for taking your job rather than the white rich dude for giving it to them, right? Divide and conquer, telling not rich white folks that their enemies are black and brown. And now we fast forward to the president. We got the president of the United States becoming president on the basis of that same rhetoric, telling not rich white folks that the reason they don't have a job is because Mexicans took them, right? That's the argument. Keep in mind, there's been a net outflow of Mexican folks from this country, out of this country in the last 10 years. Right now, border crossings and actual in-migration at the lowest level they've been since the 1970s. Wow. So anybody who believes that is a damn fool, or somebody who does not understand how to do research on the internet, or someone who doesn't care, right? But he says the reason you don't have a job is those brown folks took them.
Wow. What you think about that? I hope you got something out of that, because I surely did. I surely got a whole lot out of that. But I just want to say, listen, I got love for all humanity. And to my brothers and sisters who think alike, who are open-minded, who haven't gotten caught up in the rhetoric, who understand that we are one humanity, regardless of pigmentation, regardless of culture, regardless of our ethnical backgrounds, regardless of where we from, we here in America. And this is what it's about. It's about America right now. It's about the American people, and it's about the American nation standing up for the American humanity and worldwide human race. We all are one. No matter how they try to spin the rhetoric, Democrat, Republican, black, white, it doesn't matter. When the shit hits the fan, we all gonna feel it, my man, because we are living in a time where shit rolls downhill. And just remember, the shit rolling downhill, it started at the top. So the question is, does shit roll uphill? Well, I'm here to tell you that it does. Because what goes up must come down, but what goes around comes back around. So what you do to me, you really do to you. What you do to me, you really do to you. And the blood, it's on your hands. Because one thing I know for sure is we don't think alike. FMW, we live in the studio.
Everyone different, no one the same. We don't think alike. No.
different, no one the same. We don't think alike. No.
Everyone different, yo, no one the same.
Okay.
Opposite lifestyles and different names. People are free to be who they are. Let people be them and prove it to y'all.
Prove it to y'all.
You can even be a porn star. Or if you driving a
Oh, beat up car.
better be yo who you are.
Yo, let him see yo who you are.
Be unique, yo, in your swagger. If none of them speak, it don't matter.
Boom.
Always stand out when amongst them. Cause people, they hand out assumptions. Some of y'all stuck in the past, while some of y'all catch y'all be moving too fast.
Moving too
A
fast.
lot of y'all wearing the mask. That's why you bozos, so you don't get a pass. Everyone different, no one the same.
We don't think alike. No, we don't. No. I'm gonna tell you one more time. Listen. Everyone different, no one the same. We don't think alike. Nah. No. Hey, yo. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. Nah. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. I think like you. I think like me. We don't. Yeah.
You may say, yo, you be bugging, kid. I might don't care who the fuck
I
it
don't
is.
care.
Some niggas, they might, yo, come and try it. But me, I might be offended by it.
Okay.
You may stay quiet, yo, I might speak up. You might be cold, I might
Turn the heat up.
Some dudes, they quiet like church mouse. But some of us, we let it burst out. Some brothers cause all this nonsense.
Yeah.
These dudes, yo, they crazy, they bonkers. Cause others, they mentals too conscious. The both of us, we like two monsters. Some of y'all looking for titles, while some of y'all walk around worshiping
Idols.
Some people say they hate Trump. But then there are those, yo, who don't.
Okay. Everyone different, no one the same. We don't think alike. No, hell no.
No.
You think like you, I think like me, man.
Everyone different, no one the same.
We don't think alike. No.
We don't think
We don't think alike.
We don't think
We don't think alike.
We don't think
We don't think alike. I think like me, man.
We don't think
Woo.
We don't think alike.
I'm a free thinker.
We don't think
I'm free to be me. Yee-haw. Everyone different, no one the same. We don't think alike. Nah. No. What? Listen. Everyone different, no one the same. We don't think alike. Nah, we don't. No. FMW. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace. Booyaka. It's the funk, baby.